Welcome to the Fifth Trooper Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Fifth Trooper Podcast. My name is Jay Shalansky, and joining me today is my co-host, the raccoon of your dreams. It's Evan Bulris.
These paws get everywhere. How's it going?
Hey, we haven't, what's it been? About 4 episodes since we've actually just talked?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because we did a bunch of interviews in the meantimes.
Yeah, it was nice actually to have like a kind of a backlog so we could so it'd be funny. So I'd come over and right, because there's a lot between Jay and I's actual jobs and then what we do on the side. Like we're kind of loaded to bear. And so I'd come over and be like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Want to play some Ninja Turtles, buddy? Yeah. So we'd go and we'd play through like Ninja Turtles. We'd eat dinner. Then I'd leave,
if you've watched any of our live streams where we're playing games, you can see the Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet in the background. So it's one of those one-up ones. And Rachel got it for me for my birthday, which was just recently. And so I set it up here in the office next to the Star Wars one, and which I got for Christmas from Rachel last year. And I'm making a collection here. Next one's NBA Jam. And then, we would start to like, hey, do you want to record something? You want to try to beat Turtles? Yeah.
One Up Arcade is a very interesting company.
Yeah.
Right? Because honestly, like, so I bought off a website, it's a double arcade stick, and it's got like 3,000 games or something on it, and it's all not legal ROM hacks. And I know it's not legal because it has the Alien vs. Predator beat 'em up game, and that's a licensing heck, and you'll never come out of it because each person owns so many different things by Capcom, but they don't own Alien and Predator. But so that was like $150.
Yeah.
Or you can pay like more and get a cabinet with 2 games on it, and I'm almost more desirable about that, because it's cool room filler.
Yeah.
And also, like, the dream of owning an arcade. You and I were talking about this. Like, I miss going into a legitimate arcade.
Yeah.
Like, so you're in the food court of a mall.
Yep.
Right? And then it's loud and busy. Then you walk into the arcade and it's a different loud and busy, but it's, like, weirdly calming. So, like, to actually have, like, the startings of an arcade. One of my friends, Aaron Utley, he's got, like, 4. Now he's, like, lining them up, and I'm, like, low-key super jealous.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, right? Like, and they're going to keep going. They're doing well, and the nice thing is the Walmart near where I live always has them, and no one buys them from there except for us.
It's
so
strange,
it's like,
man,
because everyone was like, you can't get that Turtles one anywhere, and I'm like, yeah, you just got it at Walmart.
Yeah, because you saw it, and I'm like, oh yeah, Turtles is actually, because it's got 4 spots. I'm like, that's a great drunk game to play with your friends, because whatever, right? There's 2 buttons, jump and hit, and that's it, and you just have infinite lives, so no one, right? It's just perfect. And I was like, what's Amazon got? It's like $8.99. I'm like, that MSRP'd for $3.50. You know, I was like, that's not right.
Well, and they're doing this thing now too, where it gets confusing. So, like Walmart near us, they have the Mortal Kombat one, which has 1, 2, and 3 on it, but it doesn't come with the little riser. So, like, because what they did first when they did 1-Up, they sold the arcade game,
and then the riser separately.
Yeah, because I think they were planning. We were talking about this. They were planning on it for it to be kids.
Yeah,
or you would be sitting down to play it, and then everyone was like, yo, what are you talking about? These are arcade games. Like, they should be this height so we could stand up and play them. Yeah. And they're like, okay, we'll start making risers for them. Because I remember you could buy, like, just a generic 1-Up riser that was, next to all the other arcades. And now, for, I think it's like $100 more, you get 2 games and the riser. And, which, it's cool. And the only, after I did the second one, it was better. But the first time when I was you have to put them together. Mm-hmm. God, it's a pain in the butt. Like the first time, and you're like, yo, what? I got to I just want to play this dumb game.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because you're paying for the cabinet, really is what you're paying for. Right? Like the cool cabinet with all the official artwork. Like the Star Wars one's awesome, right? Like it's just got X-Wings on it and TIE fight. It's perfect.
It looks cool.
But it comes unassembled, and then you're paying for the Star Wars name on it, right? But the problem is it's awesome. So you kind of like I never even liked those arcade hunting games, but the next one that's coming out at the end of the year, I think they have a Buck Hunter with the 2 rifles in there. I'm like, I would play that here. Like, right? Like,
so
that's
my
cool.
current wish list is NBA Jam. It has NBA Jam and 2 other basketball. I've told this story. I don't know if I've ever told it here, but like basically when I was a kid, there was this one summer, I think I was 12 or 10 or something like that. And I wanted NBA Jam for Sega Genesis or no, Super Nintendo or something. I don't remember. And my parents wouldn't get it for me. They're like, no, you have enough video games. So like, if you want it, you have to earn it. And I had been starting a job as mowing lawns, like, because listen,
so I bought a Dreamcast.
Yeah, I've loved money since I was born, and so like I had a blankie, everyone had one of those that you carried around. My dad bought it for me for $10, and I was like, okay, and just that was it. That was the end of it, right? Yeah. So ever since I was little, money was a huge motivator for me, and growing up pretty poor, like, it was, and so. That summer, my grandfather gave me this old beat up lawnmower that I actually had to work off to buy from him. I had to like mow his lawn to get it. He did lawnmower repair. And so we fixed the lawnmower together. It was a push mower. And then I basically went around my whole neighborhood asking all the old ladies and old people like, hey, I'll mow your lawn for $10. I'll do the whole thing. Like no matter how big it was, if it was smaller, I'd do it for $5, And I worked my ass off all summer, mowing. Finally earned whatever it was, $50, $40, whatever it was to get NBA Jam. And then I had to wait because my parents wouldn't take unnecessary trips to anywhere, town, right? Because we lived close to where I live now, so it was out a ways, right? Mm-hmm. And so like no unnecessary trips to town unless we could like do multiple things. Yeah. And so I remember I had to wait for us to go to get our family portrait done. Remember when you used to have to go to that, like Owen Mills and go get your family portrait? So they're like, okay, well, the Toys R Us is right by where we're getting our picture taken. So when we do that, we'll stop at Toys R Us since it's right next door, and you can go in and get whatever you want with your money. Oh, I remember going in. I called that day to make sure it was in stock, right? Yeah. Oh, I go in, I get NBA Jam, I bring the little ticket up from the toy paper. But they go and unlock it, and I brought it home, and I played that for like a week straight, and then got in trouble because I wasn't mowing lawns anymore. And so like NBA Jam kind of holds like this place in my heart, And when it came out on the Wii a few years ago, I got it, and we were playing it, and now that it's an arcade.
Oh, it's perfect. Well, it's this another cool game that like there's 2 buttons, right? Like shoot. Pass, right? There's not like a whole lot to it, so anybody can. It's one of those games that's easy to teach. You can teach it in like a breath, and after you play for like a minute, you understand everything about it. Okay, just do crazy stuff. Try to get like dunks, right?
You're on fire.
Yeah, like add some cool stuff. It's fun. It's a lot of
must be the lights. Shoes. I loved it. So. Anyway, so that's our arcade story. A little housekeeping. So this weekend, we're going to be live streaming because we are running the Gen Con Legion event, Star Wars Legion event. And so we're going to be live streaming that. We have 3 channels going, 2 on Twitch, 1 on Yavin Base, and 1 on Dash TV. And then Evan and I will be on our YouTube channel live streaming both Saturday and Sunday starting at 10 a.m. The neat thing is, even if you don't play Legion, or if you can't play Gen Con, we're going to be giving away stuff to the stream. So like we have a bunch, like a mega paint set from Army Painter, and wet palettes from Army Painter, and regular paint sets. Like we have a ton from Army Painter. They're the sponsor of the whole stream. But there's other stuff we're going to be giving away, like event decks and order tokens for Legion. And so just come hang out with us. Talk some crap in the channel with us, and because Evan and I are going to do our best to comment on Legion games for 2 days. So
it's so I like commenting X-Wing streams because things happen pretty quick and movement is dynamic, and you're kind of always guessing where they're going to go, and the dice can be exciting. In Legion, like sometimes it feels rough to watch because there's like it's not. The problem is it's not really a problem with the game because the game's not made to be a spectator thing, right? It's not like baseball or something, right? It's
we're turning it into something. It's
right. Yeah. So like that's kind of the issues, like with the downtime when they're thinking, and like when you're playing the game, like you don't really think about it, because it's not like you're not supposed to act different from spectators, right? But it's on TTS. It's a little bit more interactive, and you get better angles, and the boards look are all perfect, right? Like it's not bad boards. There's all the models are painted, right? Like it's interesting to watch. I think if you're going to watch it, especially during this craziness, this is the best way to do it. Yeah. Until we hit like hopefully LVO happens. Fingers crossed.
I would love. Yeah, we'll be there if it does. But but it's hard to say, right?
Yeah, who knows, man?
Like all the planning started for LVO, and I was just like, yo, I have no idea.
Yeah, because it's rough because it's so far in the future, and things change every day, right? Lately, so but I think LVO is like probably the next. I don't want to call it real event, but like in person event. That's supposed to happen
for sure.
If it does, that'd be. I hope it does because I'd really like to go.
I think the only way it does is if something significantly changes, like we get at least a shot or something for COVID, right? Yeah. Because even the kids' schools are talking about just still being remote when they go back in September because there's just no solution right now, right?
Yeah.
And it all varies from location. New York, we had it really bad in the beginning, and now it's we've flattened the curve, and we're doing great now, right? Yeah. But now other states are doing bad, and now New York thinks there's going to be another surge. So it's just, I don't want to talk about this too much, but who knows?
Yeah. But we're staying positive.
Yeah.
Because I would really love to.
That's positive.
Yeah, I'd really love to go this year.
Yeah.
That said, Gen Con's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see some more fun Legion, man.
Yeah. So that's that. We'll also be doing, for those of you who don't care about Legion, we're going to do a sale on our website for all the games that we carry now, too. So I haven't decided what it is, and I got to finalize that in the next day or so. But I'll finalize that, and I'll make an announcement on our Facebook page. We'll be running a deal so you can get the games that we're carrying right now for a good
notable
off.
Ones. Forgotten Waters.
Yep.
If you haven't gotten a chance to see either our playthrough or our talk with Mr. Bistro, Shut Up and Sit Down actually did a playthrough as well, and they use the remote app, so you can actually kind of see how that works. But check that out, and you can get through us, and especially on that sale.
Yeah,
we'll have that. We're going to be, Jay and I are kind of really getting into Wild West Exodus, and we haven't even played a game yet. So we'll be streaming that. That's going to be super cool, and honestly, the buy-in is pretty low for a cool mini game.
Yeah, and what we're hoping to do is, with all these games that we've been interviewing, right? Well, most of them that we've been interviewing about, is hopefully that we can get them on the table and show you. Like, if you haven't seen, we did a Blood Red Skies.
Yep.
Playthrough. We did a Fallout playthrough. Our buddy War Corgi did a Elder Scrolls
that was really
battle
good,
report, which is awesome. This is all on our YouTube channel. And so I want to show you what these games can be. And so for instance, Rachel and I, that's for those of you who are new, and actually I got a fun game for us to play in a little bit here for newer listeners, but Rachel is my partner in crime. She and I spent the entire weekend, a couple weekends ago, putting together 90% of the Red Oak play set of terrain for Wild West Exodus,
that's really good.
Which we sell on our website. And so we're hoping to get that all on the table, and then I started painting up some of the minis, and so we'll get that and start playing battle reports and stuff of Wild West Exodus. Evan and I are both painting up Conflict 47 right now too. We're working on
There's a lot.
we're working on Blood and Plunder. Our buddy Brad is painting up Blood and Plunder.
I really miss X-Wing actually just had a points update today and a format change, and I miss playing it because it's X-Wing, it's fun, you can get a game in an hour or whatever, right? It's cool like that. But also, if you just wanted a new unit, you just go to the shelf, you buy it, you open the package, you put it on the peg, it's pre-painted and it's ready to go, right? Like that. Yeah, I kind of miss that.
So we were talking about with Blood Red Skies how we liked it because it's easier gameplay wise than X-Wing, but the downside is you have to put together and paint the models, right?
Yeah, at least just paint them to make them look like. Because you can do green, red, and they actually give you little stickers.
Yep.
So you can, if you just want to put these are the German planes, these are the British planes, go. But yeah, it's still it still doesn't beat a painted Ghost model that they put out, right? And I know a lot of people have some even awesome mods they do on X-Wing, but it again that nice if someone comes in the store and hey, what do I need to get to play X-Wing? You point out a Slave 1, they want to play Scum, Boba Fett and a couple of ships, and they can open them, put them in and share templates and go, right? You don't have to build them or paint them, which is nice. But yeah, it's the bonus to doing all these games is we've been exposed to a lot more of the downsides. My queue has just gotten out of control.
Right. Before, when we were only a Legion podcast, we were only worried about putting Legion together, right?
Yeah, and then whatever, right?
And that seemed overwhelming at the time, especially if you were multi-faction. But Now it's and so anyways, but we love it. We love all these games, and they're all super interesting, and that's why we bring these people to you and talk about them, and hope that you like them too, and you get to learn something, right?
Yeah.
What else is going on, Evan?
Let's see. Lately, not a whole lot. I know new releases for product. I haven't really seen much lately. Gen Con will be not Gen Con. The in-flight report. If you don't catch it,
FFG.
If this comes out when I think it's going to come out, it'll be on our website, and you can watch it if you don't watch it live.
So what we're going to do is Wednesday night. You should be listening to this Wednesday during the day.
Yep.
So tonight, you, Evan, Mike Cirillo, and Mike Dashes Berry, those are two guys that work for the Fifth Trooper. They're all going to watch the FFG in-flight report live and comment and tell you what they think as it happens.
Yeah, it's just I watched a lot of it's not an original idea. Everybody does this kind of thing for all the video game streams and releases that like the Microsoft press conference, which Game Pass is a great deal. You should look into that. But otherwise, it's just fun, man. Like I do it with my friends when we watch it. We'd get together and like a Discord chat, and or if like I'd have them over and would just comment on streams. And so I'm actually really excited to there's that possible maybe Marvel Crisis Protocol gets an X-Men expansion, which everyone's kind of really waiting for. Then I've got that core set I got to put together because we'd love to do that. That game's cool. Our friend John Bushman's really into it. So that'd be good for that. But then they announced 2 unreleased product lines. Fingers crossed for a cooperative. I want an LCG Star Wars game. I want Arkham Horror except Star Wars, where you get Han, Lando, Luke, Leia, a hero. You build a deck for them, and then you cooperatively go through an adventure with them. I would punch a full-grown man to get that. Pow!
All right, that sounds good. Yeah.
Chow.
Who knows? Who knows what's coming?
Well, it's rough because FFG's card division and miniatures division, and it just said unreleased product, so it could be just more stuff. And then they've split into multiple days. We're only going to be doing the one in flight, and then if you want to get into more deeper dive, what they're going to do, that there's a lot. There's one every day. Unfortunately, I just don't have time.
Right.
As much as I'd love to, just time is not allowed for that.
Yeah. So that's happening this weekend. All right. So now I have a fun game for us to play, Evan.
Do it.
I'm going to give you... So this is for all of you who may be new to our podcast, or for those of you who maybe haven't listened through all of our episodes and don't know us as well. So we're going to do a little get to know Jay and Evan session here. I'm handing Evan a deck of cards. You're going to shuffle those cards, my friend. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth. There's questions on these cards, and we will ask them. And if we think it's ridiculous, don't worry about it, or answer it if you want. I'll go first.
That's fair.
Ready, Evan?
Right, hit me.
Have you ever had a "this can't be happening" moment, and what was it?
Oh, okay. I think when I was younger, I used to build Gundam models.
Okay.
And I had them all on my shelf, all lined up. And I'd mow lawn, and the Gundam models were $10, so I'd buy one every week. And I didn't know about the gun. It wasn't really a thing back then. I lived up in the middle of nowhere, New York. I had a pair of I used toenail clippers to clip them out of the spruce. I didn't know. I had no idea.
Right.
I was on my own. And I was one of my friends stayed the night, and I woke up and the whole room was shaking. It was an earthquake, and then all of my Gundams were just plummeting off my shelf and smashing on the because they were fragile. These weren't really nice Gundams.
Yeah.
And then he used to I used to have walk-in closets. So anytime my friends stayed over, I'd give him a closet. They got a little room, right? So he kicked open the closet. He's what the hell's going on? I'm I don't know, my Gundams. He's no, your Gundams. So we're trying to catch him, and my mom runs upstairs and she's there's an earthquake. This was a bad one. I don't even know the year. It's just when I was younger. And so we're running outside. It wasn't. We each had Gundams in our arms. There's just pieces falling off. And
oh my god.
Yeah, that was. I didn't really know what was going on. It was pretty quick, and it was a big earthquake for upstate New York.
Was that? I want to say it was 2001. right? Because I remember there being one around then.
Yeah, I think so. That was probably because that fix. I would have been in high school and like early high school.
Yeah.
I think because I graduated in 2006.
So this is a funny story. The reason I remember that was I was not in high school. I was out of high school, and my parents had left town. This is the first time I've ever talked about this, so I hope they're not listening.
Oh yeah.
And at the time, I was in between apartments, and so I was living at their house. They went out of town on vacation. I had a big party at their house, and I remember being awoken by the house shaking, but I had maybe had some drinks and was not aware of what was going on. And then later that morning, my grandmother called me because she knew I was home alone. She goes, Jason, are you okay? Did you feel that earthquake this morning? I go, that's what that was? So
yeah, one of my friends caught it while he was driving and didn't feel anything. Didn't even like.
So you want to know what I just thought of what my this can't be happening moment is. And it's small. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I was trying to learn how to bake stuff.
Okay.
This was before Rachel came into my life and eased all my cooking and baking concerns by being a magnificent chef. And so this was years ago. I was by myself, just me. And I'm like, you know what? I bought my house and there was a bunch of rhubarb plants around. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a strawberry rhubarb pie. My grandmother used to make them. I really want to make this. So I'm making it. I'm sweating, and it's middle of summer, and it's like I'm gonna do this, right? I put the shell in the pan. I in the pie plate. I put the rhubarb and strawberry mix that I just sweat and read all these instructions. Put it in, right? And I set it on the table. Okay. I go to do something else. I come back, and just as I'm looking, I see that the pie plate is just sliding towards the edge of the table. But when I finally see it, it's already to the edge, and it just hits the floor and everything goes everywhere. And it was all the rhubarb that I had. And I looked at the table because I had put it in the, not in the middle of the table, but nowhere near an edge. The condensation had built up under the plate somehow. And there was like a pie plate streak across the table, and my pie was on the floor. And I was like, I can't believe it. And I was thinking to myself at the time, for those of you that believe in ghosts, would you have attributed that to the specter in your home?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Where in my mind, I'm just like, science, man. And then, condensation. What a weird thing. And then went about my day, but I was like, But yeah, I couldn't believe that was happening.
I got a ghost. I got a couple ghost experiences.
I don't believe in it, so hit me.
All right, so one of them, I just dropped my girlfriend off at the time at work. She worked in Vermont.
This story's already unbelievable.
Oh,
got him. That's a got him, everybody.
It's only 22 minutes and 55 seconds in. And I dropped her off. So I used to drive her over to work, and it's in Vermont, and I lived in Plattsburgh. So you had to get on a ferry and go across.
Okay.
And so I dropped her off, came back, because she worked like 12-hour shifts, so I wasn't spending 12 hours in Vermont.
Sure.
So I came back, and I went to bed, and then I heard a scream in my ear, like a really loud. I was the only one in the house.
Yeah.
So loud it hurt my ear, and I woke up, panicked, right? Because I thought, like, oh God,
who is it?
Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah.
Never found out. And then, so then, of course, your brain starts like, well, it had to be from something.
Right.
So then I Google, like, deaths in area. And apparently a murderer used to dump bodies in the river. Oh. Like, my house was on the river.
Yeah.
Like, right next to it. And I'm like, so that we moved. Well, that's not the reason we moved, but that's...
So then we moved. The end.
That's one. That's I've got some others, but that's the one that, like, shook me the most, I suppose. Because I couldn't... Like, normally you might hear something, you might see a door close and that, but, like, I woke up and my ear hurt from someone yelling in it, and that's...
Okay.
Could have been a...
Fair.
It could have been... I used to get... My ears are weird, man. They've gone through a lot. So it could have just been my ear hurting, but, like, I remember being, like, real spooked.
It's interesting. Rachel really likes scary stuff, and, like, so we always watch either scary movies or, like, I'm not a huge fan, but... so we always watch scary movies or like those like retold stories where they reenact them. And like even as a kid, it's just one of those things I've just never like believed in on any level, and ever like I've never had an experience where like it was like something was, if it was something that was unexplained, it would be something simple like, okay, well, like, okay, so for instance, I had a girlfriend once that at her parents' house, she was telling me there's a ghost. I'm like, why do you say that? And she's like, well, just randomly the light will turn on and off in the hallway, like all the time. And I'm like, okay, great. And so it happened one time while I was there, and I was like, you know what? So the next day I shut off the breaker and I went and opened up the electric. Of course, it was just a faulty wire, right? Yeah. And so, but it was a ghost. And I'm like, no, that's a faulty, you know what I mean? Like, but that's just always been my...
That's fair. I think I'll take Mike from Red Letter Media, the YouTube channel that does movie stuff. He's like an optimistic skeptic. Like he kind of wants it to happen, but every show he watches, it just never happens. So like, I want it to be a thing, but I've never actually like had confirmation. So like I don't actively think my house is being haunted. But that's the only time where I had something happen to me and I couldn't figure it out, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a loose wire or a door that was built wrong so it closes, or
right.
You know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But all right, I got a card.
Ask a question. Draw one.
All right.
What do we got?
Well, okay, it's kind of whatever. If you could marry a fictional character, who would it be?
Fictional. You promise you won't tell Rachel? Or let her listen to this?
Yeah. Rachel, I would only marry Rachel.
This is fake. Okay, Rachel, just if you're listening, this isn't real.
It's a joke.
It's just not...
It's a big goof.
Real.
It's a big goof.
Buddy. Fictional character. Easy answer. I'll give you the easy answer. It's Princess Leia.
Oh, that's such a cop-out answer.
Yeah, it is.
I don't. Yeah.
Or Wonder Woman.
Okay, all right. There's a little less of a cop-out considering you're wearing a Star Wars shirt right now.
Yeah. Or no, that's it.
No, that's good.
No, that'll do it. That'll do it.
That's fine.
Yeah. I feel like if I give any other answers, it'll start giving like inroads into my psyche, and that'll be used against me somehow. So, yeah, Leia or Wonder Woman.
All right, that's fine. That's fair.
What about you, Evan?
No, this question only goes one way.
No.
Gosh, who I don't really get attached to. I guess it'd be like. So a lot of dead air here. Trying to think.
Come on, Evan.
Well, look, you were on the spot. Like, I don't know. Actually, maybe like it's like Star Wars characters come up early, right? Because that's just been what I've been doing for the past 5 years of my life. It's just Star Wars. I don't really have any attachment to any of the characters, but I'd say like, maybe. The worst part is Gadget from Rescue Rangers came up in my head, and
that's what we're going with.
And then I think so, right? Like, I don't know. She gets things done. I guess she's smart. She's the only one that keeps the team together. I can respect that.
All right, I'm looking for a question here. All right, nope, that's not appropriate for this channel. All right, this is a good one.
All right.
If you had to pick a new name for yourself, what name would you pick?
Oh, geez. So, when my parents were figuring out a name for me, it was either going to be Evan or Fletcher. Okay. And I thank God every day that they did not take Fletcher. But honestly, like, I was always a fan of a good solid, like, old-timey name.
Sure.
Like Ian at this point is almost old timey because no one really.
It's funny you said that. You know what popped into my head?
What?
Thaddeus. I would be Thaddeus. Thaddeus.
Thaddeus is a mean name.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Ian's not bad, or a Jebediah.
I knew an Ian growing up.
Just call me a Jeb.
Yeah, Ian. He lived on my street. He was my brother's age, so he was about 4 or 5 years younger than me. And yeah, all right, your turn. Give me a question.
Okay, I'm trying to find a.
Yeah. So these decks, we're just drawing random out of this question deck, and some of them are just don't make sense or inappropriate for this podcast.
This isn't even like, okay. Here's one. Like, some of these are not bad. Some of them like,
yeah.
Have you ever licked a battery?
Yep.
9 volt. Me too. Done. All right. Question. Well, here's a story about a battery I'd like to tell.
All right, Evan. What's the longest you've ever waited in line, and what was it for?
It was an hour, and it was for Galaxy's Edge. Because I don't do lines. Like, I generally, unless it's something I need to do, I will just find another alternative. Like, if I go when I worked in malls for most of my younger life, and you go in the food court, whatever had a line, I would just go to the other one because I need to go do it, right?
Yep.
And it had to either be because I was an hour wait, and Disney's like usually spot on with how they do it. Because I was an hour, I went to out to my plant I'm rented at, bought a facility in California, and so I went out with my boss at the time of that plant out there. And we did what we needed for the day. We got out early. He's like, "Yo, you want to go? Because the place we bought is literally right next to Disney." And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to go to Disney." And so we went there, and we're like speed walking to Disney. But then we stopped and we saw It's a Small World, and like we walked up and he's like, "Just a couple of beards want some tickets into into Small World. Front seats, please." Yeah. And so that was really fun. But we like speed walked to Disney. Like we're both Star Wars guys. So we went back there, and it said like Angel's wait time like an hour. And I'm like, because I'd never been to any, this was crazy. Like, I was getting sensory overload. He's like, "Yo, it's only an hour. Let's go." So we ran in there. But yeah, I think an hour is the longest time I've ever waited for anything.
It's funny. Mine's a similar answer. It's Disney. Like, I've never been one to like, where we live, you can go to opening night of a Star Wars movie and there's no line, right? Yeah. You can get in. And now with the way things are, you can buy seats, right?
Oh yeah, like a movie tavern or something.
Yeah. So Disney, same thing, and it's the Avatar land that that was like really like a year and a half after it was out, and I was still waiting and I think it was an hour and 30 minutes to get into one of them.
It's like Avatar is one of those franchises that people didn't think was going to be a thing, and then they really just want it to be a thing, and then it's kind of a thing now, like still around. Like the Avatar 2's coming maybe sometime, never. Like
it got delayed again. Well, and it's all Disney now, right? Because Fox, Disney bought Fox. So, all right, go ahead. What do you got?
All right,
what do you got, buddy?
I think I started with. Oh no, that's where you shot me one. On point. How many chickens would it take to kill an elephant?
Well,
you being a chicken owner now,
I am an expert in this field. So I have a number of chickens, and Evan and I talk every time we see them that I feel like if I ever died while feeding them or something, that they would absolutely eat me alive.
I've got after hanging out with these chickens for a while out there, talking them up, getting some info. Yeah, if you ever fell down in there and no one was around, and you couldn't get up, there'd just be bones.
Yeah,
and a scarf.
I'd say it'd take a good 100 to 200 chickens to eat an elephant.
Really just go at it. Yeah, I'd say if
it's dead, 20.
I think the pro move of the elephant is just start rolling around.
Yeah,
not try to fight on his feet. Get the ground game, man.
Start swinging with that truck.
Yeah, get on the ground, start rolling like a big old rolling pin, and start squashing them chickens.
If you were a villain or a criminal mastermind, what would be your calling card?
As much as I like the wet bandits from Home Alone, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to be a calling card, that you've already failed at being a villain or a sneaky guy. But
I mean, you're a mastermind, right? So you could leave a calling card that doesn't lead anyone back to you. Right, you'd figure it out. What would it be?
Maybe like a $5 bill.
Okay.
With something on it, just change enough so my face is on it and they don't realize it, and so until they get into circulation and they start looking wait a minute, this isn't Abraham Lincoln, this is Evan.
I would just leave a slice of cheese in an envelope.
The cheeser strikes again.
Just have them question that, like, was he mailing it and he left it here, or like what happened? Just slice of cheese in an envelope.
Okay, so I'm gonna skip a card for a minute.
You bastard.
So we've seen a lot of games, a lot of stuff.
We recently, we absolutely have. Yeah, what do you go ahead?
A mechanic, something new you've seen that you really like.
New?
Not Legion based, because that's normally what we did, right? Like Legion was. What's something new that you've seen or done or played that you're like, oh, that's actually a cool way to do that?
Yeah, Forgotten Waters. So we talked about this. You can watch it on the stream. So Forgotten Waters has a digital component where they have this tiles. You take the number from the tile, you plug it into the computer, and it has a passage, and it tells you what to do next, like kind of like a write your own story type thing, right? Or choose your own adventure. I really liked what they did, but even more than what they did with it, I liked the thought and the theory of it in general is that they can go back and they can completely change that game.
Yep.
Because nothing in the actual box, barring the book maybe, but the book isn't even, it's just like Shipwreck or,
Yeah.
So like you could make it a completely new game by just updating that app.
Yep.
And that blows my mind. Because, right now they have 4 scenarios that you can walk through, right? Yeah. And it's chapters for each scenario. You can have 100. Like, there's nothing stopping that. And each one unique and different.
Because he kind of alluded to, like, a few things. But one, I would love to buy a new official character sheet pack.
Yeah.
I like the small tear-off pages. Printing them out's fine. Like, I print them out and they're full pages. They work, they're fine. But... like updates, like you could just release a new book, and everything else stays the same, like all the pieces, characters, dice, nothing else really needs to change, right? Like maybe if you want to release a new job, you can just put in the book, like.
Yeah, I mean that's the great thing, right? Is you have a couple different options. You can just update the app and it's a completely different game. Like he was even saying like, hey, maybe they're going to build some intelligence. I guess there's a little bit in now, but even more intelligence into it where if I've played X tiles, like these number tiles, then this answer is going to be different versus if I played these number tiles, right? And so that's huge, I think, because what you and I run into a lot is, okay, we love Forgotten Waters, right? Yep. I've played it 4 times now. Yep. I'm going to play it again. If there's new people that come over, if we can ever eventually have more people in person, I'll play it with them. Yeah. And it's going to get old eventually. Any game gets old after you've played it. Like what was Twilight Imperium, right? Is your bane, right? Like, because you've taught it so many times. And it's
someday I'll talk about that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But anyways, like, that's what happens with games is those of us who know how to play the games, it's just hard to teach after a while because you're just like, all right, I don't want to play this game again. And I think there's an opportunity with that app and the ability, like, yeah, you're right. If they just put out a book for like $10 or $15, new game, you know, and it's completely different numbers, like new game. So yeah, I like that. I like that idea.
You get the feeling of like a legacy game almost, but without paying the legacy price. Because I think what do we sell it for? Like $50?
Yeah, like 50
like,
something. Yeah,
and that's that $50. Like, not to just keep pitching us here, but like legit, like we carry that one game because we really like it.
Yes,
right. So that game, the amount of money, the amount of time and fun you can get out of that one box is probably more than I've seen in a long time. Like when I bought it on a whim. There's a small store, AC Gaming Space up in Plattsburgh. They're a great little store now. If you live in that area, you finally have a gaming store, guys. It'd been years when I moved and there was nothing there, and I come back and you got a gaming store. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
But I went up there and he's like, yeah, I just got these in. Like this is kind of like you got like an early release, and I'm like, well, I just saw it on a miniatures market thing. I'm like, we're into pirates right now. Like, yeah, I'll get it. So I picked it up and I opened it up. I was reading through, and normally what I would do is we'd buy a legacy game, whatever the hot legacy game is, bring it up to my buddy James's, and we'd pound through it in 2 days, and then we'd be done with it, and it'd be perfect, right? You get to play the whole thing. Everyone got their time and money out of it. It's great. And I'm like, well, it says it's got like an app component, and so we played through it the first adventure, and then we're immediately like, he had like family over after, But the next day we're like, yo, do you want to spend all day playing this? Because we had all these other plans to like learn, like play a whole bunch of Fallout, Wasteland Warfare. Not that those were bad, but like we were just so enamored. We're like, because you can't really be bad at the game.
Yeah.
And that's fun. So people are like, hey, I don't, like, you guys play a lot. I don't really want to like get beaten by, like, A, don't worry about it because it's cooperative.
Yep.
And B, there's no like high level strategy you really need to do to get through, right? It's just like,
yeah, there's enough randomness built in that even if you've played it a bunch of times and you know exactly what to do,
yeah,
because I think with the book and like picking roles,
yeah,
I think you can kind of like game the system a little bit, but with the randomness you can't, right?
Yeah, and I like that though. So no one has to feel intimidated to play. Like you can actually, it's one of those. I used to have a shelf when I had a shelf to put the stuff on, not just piled in the closet. Where I had games these were games that for people who didn't play games.
Yeah.
Like hey, they'd come over and like maybe someone would bring their girlfriend.
Like code names.
Yeah, something like that where it's like, hey, they want to play a game, but they're intimidated by them. Because sometimes there's a lot. There's a book of reading.
So speaking to that happens to Rachel, right? And that's why it's hard to get her to commit to play a game because she's said this to me, like she's explained exactly why. It's because whenever we play a game, it's generally a game we know, and she feels stupid because
that's not uncommon,
right? Because we know how to play, so we're just going at it. But then she feels dumb and doesn't want to look dumb, right? She just doesn't want to look dumb,
and that's very big.
And so, like this game, it's similar. Like she loves Ticket to Ride, right?
Yeah.
Like, and she's good at it, and so. But this game was like, we streamed it. We did a live stream here on our YouTube channel. And like immediately afterwards, our buddy Spencer had to go home. But I was like, yo, let's play with Rachel. She's going to love this game. And she picked it up instantly. We've actually played it with the kids again. Like, and that does not happen. That's a unique experience for the Shalansky household because generally, like I said, she don't want to play a game because she don't want to feel stupid. But if we've already played a game once, she's kind of over it. And so this game is very unique in the fact that
you can get people to play.
Yeah.
Right. It's got that good theme.
Yeah.
Pirates. Right. Like it's got an easy theme. You don't like there's a die roll and it's not like a stat sheet really. It's like you roll the die, then you add as many check boxes as you have down here.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay, I'm the hunting guy. Right. Like, and I think that I really like that about that. So mine is this kind of, it started coming up the last couple of years, but the mechanic of, I guess is sort of a mechanic, but it's just a cool thing. Just bring whatever you own kind of game. So take Frostgrave.
Yeah.
Frostgrave is you buy the book's like $20 or $30, and it's like, do you have any miniatures at all? Anything. Do you have Legion miniatures? Do you have old like Warhammer? Whatever you got. You go, yep, they cool. One of them's a wizard now, one of them's an apprentice, and you got just dudes. Like that's super mind-blowing, amazing to me because like a lot of the unfortunate thing is a lot of miniature games I think could have a bigger market. It's not their fault, it's just the nature of the business of making miniatures and things like that, but they're expensive. Like they're legit expensive. And so anytime people want to shift to new games, it's not like shifting to a new board game where everything's in the box.
Yeah.
Right, you just move over and okay, now I've got everything I need to play. Got to build and paint them everything for a miniatures game. But like Frostgrave's great. You just need 10 models, tops, maybe, not even, and you're good to go. Or Gaslands.
Yep.
Do you have Hot Wheels cars? If you don't, they're $1 in stores, right? Or you can go Matchbox if you want to go a little cheaper. But like I threw most of mine out of the kit or sold them at garage sale. So I bought the new Gaslands Refueled book because Gaslands will do that here sometime soon.
Yep.
I actually just got my templates and everything, so I've got dice templates and tokens and everything. So I got the book in, and they had the Mad Max Last of the V8, the Black on Black, the Magnum Opus, and it was $12. And I'm like, it's a lot for a car, but it's the car, right? So I bought that, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna want more cars because you can make little teams, or you can just do like a death race. Everyone gets one, and you just kind of race. I'm like, well, not everyone's gonna have a car on hand, so I hate buying things on Amazon, especially when I get them in stores. But when I was buying the book, it's like, here's 10 cars for $12.
Right.
And they're all Hot Wheels and they all look cool. I'm like, okay. So I've got $12 is in 2 armies of cars, really, because you get little character sheets and you can feel like this is a truck. It's got machine guns and it can ram. And then you pick like a faction. I'm going to be I think I don't remember off the top of my head. One's like the police that get like bonuses to like ramming, or the outlaws. Again, people are gonna hit me all over the comments here.
Sure,
but it's
do it.
Do it.
Get them.
But you pick like a little faction and you make a little army of cars, and then it's template based, and like it's really easy to teach, and you just need, if people have got kids, they've got Hot Wheels cars, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Because we talked about Warlords of Erewhon, very similar, right? Like you can buy models from them, but it's like, hey, do you have fantasy models? Cool, we got a book. There it is.
I just ordered a book called Blaster Volume 1. It's from Offspring Publishing, who does Gaslands and Frostgrave. And it's a book of like different miniature games that people have made. And one of them's like kind of pod racing. It's like hover cars using like a Gasland kind of system. And the models they use are awesome looking. They remind me if you've ever seen a movie called Redline. If you haven't, check it out. It's really dope. But like these hover, like hyperistic future racing cars. And it's you're going to see a lot of companies now just say like, hey, here's some rules for a game, use what you got. And I actually think that's a really smart way to put out a game. Because the worst thing is trying to make overhead for units. I mean, right? Like, and you can put out a game, and if it takes off, maybe look down the road at it, but it's just really interesting. Like I've been, that kind of thing is pretty new to me. I know some people have been like, I've been playing games like that forever. Like Dungeons and Dragons for one, I just use whatever, but it's cool to actually play a miniatures combat game with just whatever you got.
Well, Warlords and Frostgrave, like it's interesting because I mean, I haven't seen it, but I have hundreds of D&D figures. I have all the, back when I was back in Cool Mini and stuff, I have all the Massive Darkness stuff, the Black Plague, Zombicide Black Plague. Like I have tons of all those, fantasy miniatures, plus all the Warhammer fantasy stuff that I have from like 6th and 8th edition. And I'm just like, what am I going to do with all this? And then Warlords. And I was like, excellent. And so I think games would be smart to allow players to do that more. Where, sure, if you want to sell your miniatures so people can have...
but
thing, also allow them to be creative and have freedom so that they can just do whatever, so I don't have to invest another $500 to get into this game. And that's why I like... that's why I'm interested in Wild West Exodus, because there's so many different varieties, and we're going to talk about it more and do a stream, but there's so many different varieties and ways to build your faction that...
And an army's like $50.
Yeah.
Like, that's real low. That's an army with a book, dice, templates, the action deck you need.
Yep.
I mean, that's a pretty reasonable asking price to get a faction that looks cool. You play the game a few times. If it's not for you, you're like, okay. You're not out like,
right.
Like, for example, the Warhammer army, I've split one box. I split two of the Indomitus boxes.
The new 40K stuff?
Yeah, so that's $200-ish. And then I had to buy the chapter approved pack to get the missions and everything. That's another $40, and the mission cards are $10. And then I need just probably split another box or two of the new models to get more bikes for my White Scar. Like, I haven't even put a model on the table yet, and I'm like $400, $500. And that's not even including the models I bought before,
right,
for the box I split before. So I'm like $600 in this army, and I've played it like twice. Or I could pay $50 to get a Wild West army and have probably just a good enough time, right? Like, so it's just interesting. I'm liking these lower key miniatures games because they're just buying's a little bit lower.
Yeah, and I'm liking the direction, right? Like the Wild West Exodus thing. I love westerns to begin with, and to kind of combine that with like this weird steampunk like technology stuff. I'm just like, yo, sign me up. Yeah. So
Conquistadors is cool.
All right, man. Well, I think that's good for this episode. So it's good catching up with everyone. I'm glad you could hear about us. And look forward to more episodes coming soon.
Everyone, stay rad.
Join us next week for another edition of the Fifth Trooper Podcast.
This has been a Fifth Trooper production.